It's all poison in the mind of those who weren't there to see it. And I've seen this one clip of MJ and them talking about not the whole no left thing. That's a whole nother story, because we got clips of Jordan going left all day in the air with the left and coming up around the hoop and driving to the left. I'm just talking about like the level of skill when we talk about who he beat in the 90s to win the chip, right? And somebody mentioned the Seattle Supersonics, like Gary Payton and One Trick Pony Sean Kemp. Do you know what them boys was doing in the 90s? You can't tell me nothing about the Portland team with Clyde Drexler and this. If you just use the name Jerome Kersey or Terry Porter or those guys, if you saw how they played the game as a team, those names meant something.
Yeah,
Detlef Schrempf, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Kendall
Gill.
Gill.
Those are names. That don't sound like nothing today. Those are names, bro. Like
those were names.
You mentioned Baron Davis earlier. Baron Davis will be forgotten one day. That dude was raw. Like, that dude was a problem. And he is not, one day in another 10 years, somebody going to say Baron Davis, and he going to get looked at like a bum. You said Steve Francis, he going to get looked at like who? These dudes was the truth. You know what I mean? Yeah. At one point in time. And I got news for you.
That Jordan went up against.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, I'm going to be honest. And this is, they getting that, a lot of that Fresh and Jordan's competition in the finals is to big up LeBron, but I don't think LeBron's competition in the finals is no better.
No.
I don't see where his competition was that great. Let's go through it.
One of the biggest competition. Well, go ahead.
Let's go through it. The Spurs was his biggest competition. Tim Duncan, greatest power forward of all time, given, but at the same time, just a regular old drafted team. Nothing special about him.
Ginobili,
a bench player. Tony Parker, pretty solid. How many All-Star appearances is Tony in, though? Tony won't like...
And these names, that Ginobili and that Tony Parker, you look 20 years from now, the same thing you said about a Baron Davis. They were like, who?
They will be forgotten. Tony Parker and Ginobili will be forgotten in 20 years. They were good, but they're going to be forgotten in 20 years. Tim Duncan is the only memorable name.
You lost to Bruce Bowen? You let a team with Bruce Bowen beat you?
Yeah. That's how that's going to get looked at. So, they great dynasty. They were dynasty. Great team. But is the actual names on that roster, is it any better than the names against the Phoenix Suns? Is it really? You know what I'm saying?
Cedric Sabalas. Come on. That guy was damn Marley. But you put 30 years later, you go ahead and you say these names and you make it look like it's nothing. But you go back in 1993 or 92, whatever year it was, those guys were guys.
Yeah.
Back then. And especially you put the team, like you said, you build the teams together, just like a Bruce Bowen, a Ginobili, a Tony Parker with Tim Duncan. It looks like, who did he beat?
Yeah. So I don't think Spurs, if you look at it on paper, don't look that much different than the Suns that Jordan beat. Then you look at the Dallas Mavericks. You lost to who? Dirk Nowitzki. You know what I'm saying? Dirk is good, but Dirk
Terry, what's
like all time.
What's your boy name? Terry.
Jason Terry.
Jason Terry. You let Jason Terry
Mark
beat
Barrera?
you? He doing this all on you all day?
Yeah.
You let that guy
Barrera, whatever his name was, him?
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
The little Spanish dude off the bench. He went off on you? Like, who was on that team today that we remember? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was special about that team? Yeah. Okay, let's keep going on through. Who else did he lose to? It was Dallas. It was the Spurs. He got one against the OKC. But at the time, it was a young team. He was supposed to get that.
Yeah, young KD, young Westbrook, young James Harden.
That team couldn't.
Serge Ibaka.
James Harden, before he was established, he was still a bench warmer. You know what I'm saying? Like that team ain't no better than the Sonics. It's a Sonics level team. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what you got there? That name, that win aged well. But it didn't. It wasn't that fantastic in the moment.
Yeah, not that time. Not in the moment.
Not in the moment. It just aged well. Now we move on, and Miami. You beat Miami. in the bubble. You know what I'm saying?
In the bubble. Yeah. Who'd you beat? Jimmy Butler and who else?
And who else?
That's
nothing. That's your competition is better than Jordan's? I don't see it. That Miami Heat team ain't better than the Knicks Jordan would beat in the Eastern Conference Finals or the Pacers. He beating the
and let's not even go down that route as far as like who you beat on the way to the finals.
Right.
Who you beat on the way to the finals. Now, you're just talking about the Western Conference winners who he went up against in the finals. Let's not start breaking down the rosters of who he beat in the semifinals, in the first round, second round.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not do that. Let's not break down those rosters.
Don't look that much better to me. Okay, Golden State. That's the one. He played Golden State.
That's the one.
Well, think about it this way. Golden State is a drafted team that overachieved. The only time that team became special was when they made one trade and got one additional player to their roster.
Yeah. They got Kevin Durant.
One player addition.
Yeah. They were just some homegrown guys.
A regular 90s team who could shoot. That's all they were.
Yeah.
They just built it from
don't
draft.
get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the feat because coming back from 3-1, that was a feat. And I remember watching it in real time. And this is what I say, and I was talking to my son. It's like nobody's denying how great LeBron is. A lot of us have him number 2 all time, which is how many players who's ever played the game to be number 2? That's a solid spot.